Chapter 11. Digby. One day, as Juliana was walking through the soiled streets of Striven, wishing for some nice thing to happen, she heard the whisper move from mouth to mouth. "It's time for the yearly reckoning." She searched for Richard and found him at last behind the cowshed, polishing a small rock veined with gold with a dirty rag. What are you doing?" she asked. He hastily shoved the rock into his pocket. "Nothing." "Yes, you were. I saw you. You had something in your hand." "All right, I'll show you. But you mustn't tell anyone." He took a fugitive glance around and pulled out the rock and showed it to her. "Gold. I found it one day in the mines. Don't tell anyone, but I kept it back. When I get the chance, I buff and polish it up real nice, see? One day, when the Lodi comes true, it'll be worth a castle." "Yeah, right. Okay, anyway, the word on the street is that there's going to be something called a reckoning. People seem pretty excited. They talk of nothing else." "And you want to know what it is?" "Yes." "Well, see, here's the thing. At the far western edge of Striven is a large wooden door. Beyond this door is a cliff leading down to the desert. In the desert lives a creature called Lord Catfish." "Let me guess," she said, "he dines on mince and slices of quince, which he eats with a runcible spoon," she said, with a mock-poetic flourish. "What the heck does runcible mean anyway?" she continued. "Oh, apart from telling some girl called Sybil to sprint like Billy-O." "What?" puzzled Richard. She fell about, laughing at her own joke. After all, stuck here in this hellhole, if she didn't laugh, she'd cry. "This is serious. Stop making what you think are jokes for 1 minute and listen," he exploded. "If you weren't a girl right now, I'd thump you." "Okay, if it makes you feel any better, go on. Tell me about your little myth monster," she said patronizingly. She inspected her dirty nails, only half interested in the tales which Richard told. They were fables which belonged to the people of this place, a place she despised. As far as she was concerned, the sooner she was back home and well clear of this lot, the better. "He is neither fish, nor flesh, nor fowl," Richard continued. "I have never seen him, but they say he is really half man, half monster." "A manster?" she suggested. "Word is that his entire skin is blue and tattooed with mysterious, peculiar symbols. Sprouting out of his hairless blue head are 2 fleshy horns, about the size of your thumbs. He has pigeon-black eyes and 3 whiskered barbels on either side of his mouth, which stand out ramrod straight. It's said that when he opens his mouth, 2 slimy blue worms slither out. But that's just his tongue, see? And instead of normal fingernails, he's got 5 thick yellow claws, like a tiger." "Do you mean the first commander and the ravenous monster are one and the same?" she finally twigged. "Yes." "If he is real, it sounds like he's got all the jocular charm of a sucking chest wound," she exclaimed. "Be quiet now. The reckoning is about to start," he whispered. On a platform in the central quadrangle stood an officious-looking man, shuffling a scroll of paper. All of Striven's townsfolk had put down their tools and assembled to witness the spectacle. "Who's the old man?" Juliana asked. "The Under-Secretary. Now shh," Richard said. In sepulchral tones, the Under-Secretary, who had a face like a baked potato, announced the decree absolute. "We are all gathered here today to observe the provisions made in subsection 6, in section 4 of clause 4243 of the Striven Ingestation in Perpetuity Act, 1278, he droned in Scottish. "I know Mary was the Queen of Scots, but I've never met a Mary Scott," She knew full well that Richard could hardly get it, but she whispered it to him anyway, more to amuse herself than anything. It was decreed that in so far as the statutory provisions for the continued and implied sustenance of the kingdom of Striven in general, and Castle Delusia in particular, which fall solely in the purview of Lord Catfish and his humble servants King and Queen Doubtfear, the governor said, Lord Catfish shall be supplied with one stainless child per annum for as long as Lord Catfish shall live. What did all that mean? Whispered Juliana. It's the yearly reckoning. You see that door over there? Richard pointed to a large wooden door with iron beams across it. Burnt into a wooden lintel above the door were the words, Port de Mort. This is where they announce which one of us gets put outside the door into the desert, and the child who is to be sacrificed this year, broke in the Undersecretary, is Isolde Hunter. The crowd gasped and turned to look at little Isolde standing next to her mother. Mrs. Hunter, a fragile bird-like woman, convulsed and let out a howl from somewhere deep within like a beast that had been wounded. She crumpled to the ground. Her grimy black skirt billowed about her like a failed parachute. The rules are the sacrifice must be flawless. Isolde can't be sacrificed because she is disfigured, Digby yelled. No warehouses allowed there, then, shouted some smart aleck. Plenty of floors there, he brayed. Shut up, you great clod, snapped Digby. What is the imperfection of which you speak? Demanded the Undersecretary. Digby pulled up the brown Hessian sleeve of his little sister, revealing a slender white arm. At the top of the arm, about the size of a 50-cent piece, was the pink, proud flesh of an oval-shaped birthmark. Oh! The crowd gasped. In accordance with the rules entrusted to me by the mighty, puissant, omnipotent ruler, Lord Catfish, it is true, in the light of this new evidence, the child Isolde is therefore disqualified. My dove, Isolde's mother breathed, clutching her tightly. He fumbled with the scroll and finally read out the words. But Section 84, Paragraph 8, Clause C of the Child Ingestion Act states, and I quote, to wit, to woo, hooted the clod. Ahem, resumed the drone. If the party first selected for the degustation is, for any reason such as death, disability, or disfigurement, unable to meet the requirements, then the nearest kin of the said nominee in age, either full, half, or twin brother or sister, must be their substitutionary appointee. In this case, the duly appointed surrogate is Isolde's older brother, Digby Hunter. Oh, Digby, wailed Juliana. No! You're so loyal, but foolhardy. If only you'd have known about the substitute thing, they wouldn't take you, she said, without even a thought for the fate of poor little Isolde. As Digby was manhandled to the door by two burly guards, he looked back over his shoulder at her. His large, liquid eyes spoke the words, I did. The hour has come to put away the one from among us who must assuage The hour has come to put away the one from among us who must assuage the hunger of Lord Catfish. He must go outside the door. We must push him if necessary. Shove him, the crowd chorused. Shove him into the hollow land of waste, they chivied. No, shrieked his mother. Not my little baby boy. I love him. He's mine. You'll have my son's blood on your hands. You can't do this to him. He's just a child. Take me instead. Take me, she cried, arms outstretched as if begging for alms. You know the rules, Mrs. Hunter. A child, the Undersecretary said firmly. You are old and wrinkled like almond skin, taunted the crowd. The child is plump, and his skin is smooth and sweet like the fabled white chocolate. The ravenous monster will enjoy him much more, they roared. Mother! Mother! The child cried. By now the guard's arms were locked around Digby's waist, and he was arched over like a lily. Now the mother and child's fingers almost touched, but the drowning air between them was too deep. The door shut fast. Digby was no more. If you looked outside the door, upon the butter-coloured sands, you would see several things happening. Overhead a curlew lets out its plaintive cry, while a large pelican quietly circles the night sky like a feathered vessel. Meanwhile, two great and terrible clawed feet pad silently across the empty desert. Finally, you would see great drops of blood form itself into a figure 8, except on its side. They then curl themselves into the mathematical symbol for infinity, writ large in Digby's blood. The ruins of his blood then twists itself into letters. The letters become words, and the words loop into a silent, solemn poem in the sands. They cry out in crimson pools, Remember me.